Hey, I'm really glad you're here. Take a moment to get comfortable wherever you are. Let your shoulders relax and let the day gently fall away. You don't need to do anything right now. Just listen and let the story unfold at its own pace. Whenever you're ready, we'll begin.
The Last Run, Story of Unsolved Crimes. Scene 1. The empty highway at mile marker 47. If you've ever driven alone past midnight on a stretch of highway that doesn't seem to end, you know the feeling. That slow, creeping awareness that the world has gone silent in a way it shouldn't. That the darkness outside your windshield isn't just empty, it's watching. Caleb Mercer learned that feeling at mile marker 47, and by the time he understood what it meant, it was already too late. The highway cut through northern Montana like a scar across frozen earth. It was late October, the kind of cold that sneaks in before winter officially claims the land. Wind skimmed low across the asphalt, dragging thin sheets of dust and brittle leaves into restless spirals. The sky was moonless, thick with clouds that swallowed whatever light the stars tried to offer. Caleb's semi-truck roared through the dark like a moving island of noise. The engine's steady rumble vibrated through his boots. The headlights carved two sharp white tunnels into the black ahead. Beyond that, nothing. No houses, no passing cars, no gas stations glowing in the distance, just the road. He liked it that way. At 42, Caleb had been driving long-haul routes for nearly 2 decades. He knew the rhythm of the interstate better than he knew most people. The loneliness didn't bother him. In fact, he preferred it. Less talk, fewer complications. He adjusted the CB radio volume down a notch and took a slow sip of lukewarm coffee from a dented thermos. Dispatch had warned about construction delays earlier, but he hadn't hit any. The route had been eerily smooth since he passed the last town, a place so small it barely had a name on the map. His dashboard clock read 2:13 a.m. He was 30 miles from the next rest stop, 48 miles from his scheduled fuel point, and exactly 1 mile from mile marker 47. He didn't know why he glanced at the roadside sign. He just did. The reflective green numbers flashed in his headlights, 47, and then he saw it. Something in the road. Caleb's foot instinctively eased off the accelerator. At first, it looked like debris, maybe a fallen branch, maybe a blown tire tread, but as the truck thundered closer, the shape sharpened. It wasn't debris, it was a car, parked sideways across the shoulder, nose angled toward the ditch. Its headlights were off, hazard lights dark, engine dead. Then the driver's side door stood open. Caleb muttered under his breath. Come on, he checked his mirrors. No one behind him, no one ahead. The truck's high beams washed over the car's surface as he passed it, an older model sedan, dark color, maybe blue or black. Hard to tell under sodium glare. He caught a glimpse of something else. The interior light flickered once, then went out. His grip tightened on the steering wheel. That wasn't right. You don't leave your car like that at 2 a.m. on a highway that rarely sees traffic after dark. You especially don't leave the door open. Caleb drove another 100 yards, then 200. His chest tightened. He should keep going, call it in. Let State Patrol handle it. That's what procedure says. But procedure doesn't always sit well with conscience. He exhaled sharply, cursed under his breath, and flicked on his hazard lights. The semi hissed as he eased it onto the shoulder and brought the massive vehicle to a stop. Silence swallowed the engine's roar when he cut the ignition. The sudden quiet felt wrong. He grabbed his flashlight from the passenger seat and stepped down from the cab. The cold hit immediately, sharp, biting. The wind carried the faint metallic scent of dust and something else. Something faintly sour. His boots crunched against gravel as he walked back along the shoulder. The sedan loomed in the darkness ahead, barely visible except where his truck's headlights grazed it. "Hello?" Caleb called out. The wind answered. He approached slowly. The driver's side door was indeed wide open. The interior was dark now. No keys in the ignition. No movement inside. He swept his flashlight beam across the seats. Empty, front and back. The dashboard was cracked. A fast food bag sat crumpled on the passenger seat. A cell phone lay face down in the cup holder. Caleb swallowed. "Hey. Is anybody out here?" Nothing. He stepped closer, angling the light toward the ground near the car. That's when he saw the footprints. One set, leading away from the vehicle, not toward the highway, toward the open field beyond the ditch. Caleb followed the beam. The field stretched out into darkness, uneven terrain scattered with low brush and shallow dips in the earth. The footprints were staggered, like someone had been running or stumbling. A prickle crawled up his spine. He checked his watch. 2:19 a.m. He should call this in. He reached for his phone, no signal. He glanced back at his truck, the CB. Right. He turned to head back and froze. The car door was closed, completely shut. Caleb stared at it. He was certain, absolutely certain, it had been open. He stepped toward it slowly. Maybe the wind, but the wind wasn't strong enough, and he hadn't heard it slam. His flashlight beam trembled slightly as he reached the door handle. It was cold to the touch. He pulled, locked. His heartbeat quickened. He circled to the passenger side, locked. He stepped back. The footprints were still there in the dirt, but the car now looked undisturbed, as if it had never been abandoned, as if he had imagined the open door. A flicker of irritation cut through his unease. Fatigue, that's all. Too many hours on the road. He shook his head and walked briskly back toward his truck. Inside the cab, the world felt smaller, safer. He turned the ignition. The engine roared to life. He grabbed the CB microphone. Breaker 19, this is Mercer on Route 12 near mile marker 47. Got an abandoned sedan on the shoulder, possible missing driver. Anyone copy? Static, then a crackle. Repeat marker 47. The voice that came through was distorted, thin. Like it was traveling from somewhere far deeper than airwaves. "Yeah," Caleb replied. 4-7, you got State Patrol in range. A long pause, then, "Leave." Caleb frowned. "Say again." The static sharpened. "Leave now." The transmission cut out. He stared at the radio. That wasn't dispatch. That wasn't trucker chatter. That had been something else. His pulse thudded in his ears. He glanced in his side mirror. The sedan sat motionless in the dark, headlights off, interior dark, everything normal, except it was. Caleb shifted into gear. He didn't look back again. The semi pulled onto the highway and accelerated, engine growling as he gained speed. He told himself he'd call authorities once he hit signal range. He told himself he'd done enough. He told himself he imagined the door. 10 miles passed, then 15. He reached for his phone again. Signal bars flickered back to life. He dialed highway patrol. It rang twice. A dispatcher answered. Montana Highway Patrol. Yeah, Caleb said, trying to keep his voice steady. I'm reporting an abandoned vehicle near mile marker 47 on Route 12. Drivers missing. A pause. I'm sorry, sir, the dispatcher said carefully. There is no mile marker 47 on Route 12. Caleb's stomach dropped. I just passed it. Route 12 runs from marker 1 to marker 46 in that stretch. 47 doesn't exist. That's not possible. Another pause. Sir, the dispatcher continued, tone shifting slightly. Are you currently driving? Yes. Can you confirm your location? Caleb glanced at the GPS screen mounted near his dashboard. The map flickered. For a split second, the road vanished, then reappeared. His location pin blinked. And beneath it, in small white text, mile marker 47, his breath caught. That's not funny, he whispered. Sir, the dispatcher asked. Caleb's headlights flickered, once, twice, then steadied. The road ahead looked different. The curve felt wrong. The trees lining the shoulder seemed closer now, closing in. He glanced in the rearview mirror. His heart nearly stopped. Far behind him in the distance, 2 headlights appeared, following the sedan, matching his speed. Impossible. He'd left it behind. He pressed harder on the accelerator. The semi responded sluggishly. The headlights behind him grew brighter, closer. His phone slipped from his grip, clattering to the floor of the cab. The dispatcher's voice echoed faintly from it, distant and distorted. Sir, are you still there? Caleb's hands tightened around the steering wheel. The sedan was gaining. No engine roar, no visible driver, just headlights, steady. Unblinking, and then the GPS screen went black. The dashboard lights flickered violently. The CB radio burst to life again with shrieking static, and through it, clear as breath against his ear, came a whisper, "You stopped." The semi's engine coughed. The headlights died. Darkness swallowed the highway whole. And somewhere behind him, at mile marker 47, something began to run. Scene 2, the voice in the dark. Darkness on an open highway is different from darkness anywhere else. In a house, darkness feels contained. In the woods, it feels natural. In a city, it's never complete. But on a long, empty stretch of American highway at 2:37 a.m., when your engine dies and your headlights vanish, darkness feels alive. Caleb Mercer had hauled freight through blizzards in Wyoming. He'd driven through dust storms in Arizona. He once navigated a near whiteout in North Dakota with nothing but instinct and fading reflectors. But he had never, not once, experienced silence like this. The semi-truck coasted forward, momentum fading, tires humming softly against asphalt that he could no longer see. He slammed the brakes. As the truck shuddered and came to a grinding stop, total black, no dashboard glow, no marker lights, no engine rumble, nothing. Only the sound of his own breathing, shallow, uneven, and the distant echo of something behind him. Running, not mechanical, not an engine, feet, fast, closing in. And Caleb's pulse thundered in his ears. He fumbled for his phone on the cab floor, fingers shaking. The screen lit up, but instead of the call interface, the display showed only static, gray distortion rippling like an untuned television. "No," he whispered. "No, no, no," the static shifted. And then words began to form, not text, shapes, blurry letters emerging through interference. You stopped. His throat went dry. The truck rocked slightly, not from wind, from impact. Something struck the rear trailer. Hard, metal groaned. And Caleb jerked around in his seat, peering into pitch black through the back window of the cab. He couldn't see the trailer, couldn't see the road, but he heard it, slow, measured, footsteps, circling, scraping against metal. His training kicked in through the fear. Lock the doors, stay inside. In call for help, he reached for the door lock switch. Dead. He grabbed the CB mic, pressed the transmit button. Nothing, no static, no hum, just dead plastic in his hand. Another impact hit the side of the trailer. Louder this time, the entire truck trembled. "What do you want?" Caleb shouted into the darkness before he could stop himself. The footsteps stopped. Complete silence returned. Then a knock. 3 slow taps on the passenger side door. Caleb's entire body froze. He turned his head slowly. There was no silhouette against the window, no shadow, only darkness. Another knock. And closer to the glass, he leaned back instinctively, pressing himself against the driver's side door. The window fogged faintly from his breath. And through the fog, a shape began to form on the outside. Not a face, not fully, just the faintest outline. Too tall, shoulders slightly wrong. His head tilted at an unnatural angle. The glass creaked as something leaned against it. Caleb's heart hammered so violently he thought he might black out. "Go away," he whispered. The shape did not move. Instead, the passenger door handle began to turn, slowly, methodically, back and forth. Locked, locked, locked. The handle stopped. The shape outside shifted closer. And then, directly beside his ear, though nothing had entered the cab, a voice spoke. Calm, low, right against his skin. "You should have kept driving." Caleb screamed. The sound tore from his throat raw and animal. At the exact moment the scream left him, the truck's headlights exploded back to life. The engine roared, the dashboard illuminated, everything returned, as if nothing had happened. Caleb blinked wildly. The passenger window was empty. No figure, no fog, no marks on the glass. He twisted around in his seat. The trailer stood intact behind him. No dents, no movement. The road stretched forward under bright beams of light, empty, completely empty. His breathing came in ragged bursts. The GPS flickered back on. Location steady. Route 12. Mile marker 46, not 47. He looked in the rearview mirror. Nothing followed. The sedan's headlights were gone. The highway lay quiet and ordinary. Ordinary. He swallowed hard. Had he hallucinated? Stress, sleep deprivation, microdream. It happens to drivers. He knew that. You see things, hear things. Your brain fills in blanks when it's tired. But tired doesn't explain the knocking, doesn't explain the voice. He wiped sweat from his forehead. Just drive, he muttered. He shifted into gear and accelerated. The truck responded normally. The engine sounded clean. Everything felt real again. He checked his mirrors constantly now. Every 30 seconds, nothing behind him. After 10 miles, he reached a junction sign. Rest area, 5 miles. Good, he needed light, cameras, people, proof that the world was still functioning normally. The drive to the rest area felt longer than it should have. Every shadow between trees looked like movement. Every reflective sign looked like eyes, but he made it. The rest area lights glowed ahead like a beacon. Several cars sat parked under the lamps. A single RV, 2 sedans, 1 pickup truck, normal. He pulled into a parking spot and shut off the engine. This time, the silence felt contained, safe. He stepped down from the cab and scanned the lot. A middle-aged man stood near the vending machine smoking. A woman walked a small dog near the grass. Ordinary. Caleb's legs felt weak as he approached the building. Inside, fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. In tile floors, clean counters, a bored attendant behind a glass window. Normal. He walked straight to the sink in the restroom and splashed cold water onto his face. He stared at his reflection. Pale, eyes wide, but sane. "You're tired," he told himself quietly. That's all. He exited the restroom and approached the attendant. "You get many breakdowns around mile marker 47, he asked casually. The attendant frowned. "There isn't a 47. Caleb's stomach clenched. "That's not possible. Route 12 ends at 46, the attendant said. "Been that way for years." Caleb forced a laugh. "Must have misread." "Yeah," the attendant replied, already looking bored again. Caleb stepped back outside. The cold air felt steadier here. Grounded. He circled his truck carefully, checked the trailer. No dents, no marks, nothing to suggest impact. He exhaled slowly. Okay, he had imagined it. It had to be stress. He climbed back into the cab. Before starting the engine, he picked up his phone. Full signal. He scrolled quickly to local news. Nothing unusual. No accidents. No missing persons alerts tied to that stretch. He hesitated, then typed into search. Mile marker 47 Route 12 incident. The results loaded slowly. One article appeared, dated 8 years ago. Headline: Trucker found dead after reporting abandoned vehicle near Route 12. Caleb's chest tightened. He opened it. The article was brief. A long-haul driver had radioed in about a stranded sedan on Route 12 late at night. Shortly after the transmission, communication ceased. His truck was found the next morning abandoned near mile marker 46. The driver's body was discovered in a nearby field. Cause of death unknown. No signs of struggle, no footprints beyond his own. Caleb's hands went cold. The date, October, 8 years ago, almost to the day. He swallowed. There was one more line. Before losing contact, the driver reportedly said the door was open. Caleb's phone slipped slightly in his grip. The trucker's name appeared at the bottom of the article, Evan Holloway. Caleb leaned back in his seat. The rest area lights felt dimmer suddenly. He glanced toward the highway entrance. Dark, still, normal. He told himself this was coincidence. Strange, yes, but coincidence. He tossed the phone onto the passenger seat and started the engine. He would continue driving, reach the next major town, sleep properly. Everything would make sense in daylight. He pulled out of the rest area. The highway ahead looked empty and safe. 5 miles passed, then 10. The radio remained silent. His breathing steadied gradually. Maybe he had overreacted. Maybe the GPS screen flickered again. He froze. The map glitched. The road line curved slightly off course. Then the location marker blinked. And beneath it, in steady white letters, mile marker 47, his blood turned to ice. "That's not real," he whispered. The road sign appeared ahead, reflective green. His headlights illuminated it clearly. 47, but he had already passed that stretch. It shouldn't exist here. The trees around him felt closer, denser. The air inside the cab grew heavy, and then in the rearview mirror, headlights. The sedan matching his speed again. No engine sound, no driver visible, just headlights. Closer this time, too close. Caleb slammed the accelerator. The semi surged forward. The sedan surged with it. Impossible. It stayed exactly 3 car lengths behind him. No more, no less. He grabbed the CB mic desperately. "Anybody out there? Anybody copy? I've got a vehicle tailing me near mile marker 47. Static exploded through the speakers. Then a familiar voice, distorted, low. "You stopped." Caleb's heart pounded so violently his vision blurred. "I'm not stopping," he shouted. Not this time. The sedan's headlights brightened suddenly, blinding. His mirrors flared white. The truck's engine began to strain. The RPM needle jerked erratically. And then the sedan accelerated, swerving into the oncoming lane, pulling alongside him. Caleb turned his head slowly. The windows of the sedan were dark. Tinted, but as it matched his speed, the driver's side window rolled down halfway. There was no one in the driver's seat, no one at all. And yet, the steering wheel turned. The sedan veered sharply, slamming into the side of his trailer. The impact jolted the semi violently. Metal screamed, the trailer fishtailed. Caleb fought the wheel with everything he had. Not this time. He roared. The sedan rammed him again, harder. The truck began to jackknife. The world outside spun into a blur of headlights and darkness. And through the screeching metal, he heard running again. Not behind him, not beside him. Ahead, something sprinting across the asphalt in front of his truck, waiting for him to stop, waiting for him to step out. Caleb's eyes locked on the road. He had one choice: do not stop, no matter what. The semi skidded violently across lanes. The sedan disappeared from sight. The engine screamed under strain. But Caleb kept his foot planted on the accelerator. The truck straightened, barely. The road stretched forward into darkness once more. The GPS screen went black. The radio died, and somewhere behind him, the sound of running slowed. But did not fade, because mile marker 47 was no longer just a place on the highway. It was following him, and it wasn't done yet. Scene 3, mile marker that doesn't exist. Caleb didn't look in the mirrors anymore. He couldn't. Every time he had, something impossible stared back. Instead, he focused on the yellow lines slicing through darkness, the hum of 18 wheels against asphalt, and the steady rhythm of his breathing. Inhale, exhale, stay moving. The truck's engine sounded normal again, but it felt fragile, like it might quit if he thought about it too hard. He checked the dashboard clock. 3:18 a.m. He had left the rest area at 2:52, 26 minutes. Yet the odometer showed nearly 60 miles added. That's not possible, he muttered. Route 12 wasn't that long. It ended at mile marker 46. He had driven it dozens of times over the years. He knew the rhythm of its curves, the slight dip near the creek crossing, the long straightaway before the merge into Highway 8. But this stretch felt stretched, like someone had pulled the road thin and endless. The trees were wrong too, closer to the shoulder, branches reaching in like fingers, no reflective signs. No wildlife markers, no exit numbers, just mile marker 47 appearing again in the distance. He gripped the wheel tighter. I'm not stopping. The words felt like a rule now. Like a contract, the green sign approached slowly under his headlights. 47, clean, new-looking, impossible. He passed it. The truck did not stall this time. The lights did not go out, but the air pressure gauge dipped slightly. A small fluctuation, enough to notice. Caleb's heart thudded. The road ahead curved gently. He knew this wasn't right. Route 12 didn't curve here. It ran straight, always straight. His GPS screen flickered back to life suddenly. No map, just coordinates, and beneath them, recalculating. Then you missed the exit. There is no exit, Caleb said under his breath. The truck's temperature gauge began to rise, not dangerously high, but higher than normal. He adjusted his grip, trying to stay calm. Then up ahead, brake lights. Red, stationary. A vehicle sitting sideways across the road, blocking both lanes. Caleb's pulse slammed against his ribs. The sedan, same shape. Same dead stillness. The driver's door hung open. He felt the truck's engine instinctively ease as his foot lifted slightly. No, he pressed the accelerator harder. The semi roared forward. The sedan didn't move. It didn't need to. It was positioned perfectly to force him to stop. Caleb's mind raced. There was barely shoulder to the right, trees tight against the pavement. On the left, a shallow ditch, too risky at this speed. But stopping wasn't an option. You should have kept driving. The memory of the voice tightened his chest. I am, he whispered. At the last possible second, he jerked the wheel left. The semi's tires screamed. The left wheels dropped into gravel and dirt. The trailer fishtailed violently. The sedan's headlights flickered as he skimmed past its front bumper. For half a second, he saw inside the open driver's door. Empty seat. But the interior wasn't dark. It glowed faintly, as if lit from somewhere underneath, and in the back seat something moved, a tall silhouette unfolding. Caleb ripped his gaze away and fought to stabilize the truck. The trailer snapped back into line. The semi surged forward. He didn't look back. He didn't want to see if the sedan had turned around. The engine temperature returned to normal. The gauges steadied, and the road straightened. Suddenly, the trees widened. The reflective signs returned. A distant overpass appeared ahead. Familiar, very familiar. Caleb's breath caught. He recognized it. The Highway 8 merge, which meant Route 12 had ended. He passed under the overpass. The sign confirmed it. Welcome to Highway 8. No mile marker 47. No impossible stretch. Just normal road. Traffic in the far distance. A pair of headlights miles ahead. Relief crashed over him so hard his vision blurred. "It's over," he whispered. But the whisper felt uncertain, because the odometer still showed 60 extra miles, and the clock read 3:21 a.m. only 3 minutes since he'd seen the blocked road. That didn't make sense. He drove another 10 minutes before pulling into a truck stop just off the highway. Bright lights, 20 parked rigs, fuel pumps buzzing, people walking, noise, reality. He parked near the entrance and cut the engine. For a moment, he just sat there, listening, normal sounds, distant laughter. An air brake releasing, country music drifting faintly from another cab. He stepped down slowly. His legs trembled slightly. He walked around the trailer and froze. There were dents, long, jagged scrapes along the left side of the trailer, fresh metal exposed, exactly where the sedan had rammed him. His breath hitched. He ran his hand along one of the grooves. Real, cold, sharp, not imagined. He swallowed and scanned the lot. No black sedan, no suspicious vehicles, just ordinary truckers fueling up. He pulled out his phone and snapped photos of the damage. Proof. He needed proof. Inside the truck stop, fluorescent lights buzzed overhead. The smell of coffee and fried food filled the air. He approached the counter where a heavy-set man in his 50s scanned lottery tickets. "You got cameras on the lot?" Caleb asked. "Yeah," the man replied without looking up. "Why?" "I got sideswiped, out on Route 12. The man paused. "Route 12, he repeated. "Yeah," the man frowned. "That road's been under partial closure for months. Construction near the end." Caleb's stomach tightened. "Closure? Yeah, ends at 46. After that, it's barricaded." "Been that way since last winter." Caleb's mind reeled. "That's not true." The man shrugged. "Drive it yourself tomorrow. You'll see the barriers." Caleb stepped back slowly. "That's not possible." The man eyed him cautiously. "You okay, buddy?" Caleb didn't answer. He turned and walked toward the restrooms. Inside, he splashed water on his face again. The mirror reflected exhaustion, but something else too, a faint smear on his cheek, black like soot. He touched it. It smeared across his fingers. Oil, motor oil, but he hadn't checked the engine. He hadn't touched anything mechanical. He looked down at his shirt, near the collar. A faint handprint, long fingers, too long. His breath caught. He wiped at it frantically. It didn't fully come off. The restroom lights flickered, once, twice, then steadied. Caleb stared at his reflection again. For half a second, the reflection didn't match. The figure behind him in the mirror stood taller, head tilted slightly wrong. He spun around, empty restroom, back to the mirror. Normal, his chest tightened painfully. "This is stress," he whispered. "Just stress. But stress doesn't leave dents in metal. Stress doesn't create handprints." He pulled out his phone again, opened the article about Evan Holloway, scrolled further. There was a follow-up story. 2 weeks after Holloway's death, another trucker had reported engine failure near Route 12. He survived, but he refused to speak publicly about what happened. Caleb searched for the survivor's name, Thomas Ridley, still alive, still driving, according to an old trucking forum. Caleb found a contact listing through a freight network directory, a phone number. His thumb hovered over it. It was 3:47 a.m. Too early, too strange, but he dialed anyway. The line rang 3 times, 4, then clicked. A gruff voice answered. "Yeah, Thomas Ridley," Caleb asked. Long pause. "Who's this?" "My name is Caleb Mercer. I'm a driver. I just came off Route 12. Silence. Then the faint sound of someone sitting down. "What mile marker?" Ridley asked quietly. Caleb's throat tightened. 47. The silence on the other end stretched. Then Ridley exhaled slowly. "You stopped, didn't you?" Caleb's knees nearly buckled. "How do you know that?" Another long pause. "I stopped too," Ridley said, 8 years ago. Saw a sedan with the door open. Thought someone needed help. Caleb pressed a hand against the wall to steady himself. "What did you see?" "I saw nothing," Ridley replied. "That's the problem. No driver, no sound, just an open door." His voice lowered. And then I heard running. Caleb's heart pounded. "Behind you, everywhere," Ridley said, like it was circling the truck. "I got back in and tried to drive off. Engine died." Caleb squeezed his eyes shut. What happened next? Ridley didn't answer immediately. When he spoke again, his voice was tight. "I woke up 20 miles down Highway 8, truck intact, no damage, no time missing." Caleb opened his eyes slowly. "No damage," he whispered. "None," Ridley said, "but I've never driven Route 12 again." Caleb swallowed. "My trailer's dented." Another silence. "That's new," Ridley murmured. Caleb's pulse spiked. "What does that mean?" "It means," Ridley said carefully, "it's getting stronger." The restroom lights flickered again, harder this time. Caleb's reflection shimmered briefly. "You need to avoid that road," Ridley continued, "if it blocks you again." "It already did," Caleb interrupted. Silence. "Did you stop?" Ridley asked. "No." Another pause. "That's good," Ridley said. "It wants you outside the truck." Caleb's breath came shallow. "Why?" Ridley's voice dropped to almost a whisper. Because the last guy who stopped didn't make it back inside. The call crackled, static seeped into the line. Caleb's grip tightened. Ridley, static grew louder, and then through the noise that same low voice, close to the receiver. You stopped. The line went dead. Caleb stared at his phone. The screen displayed, call ended, but beneath it a notification. Unknown contact sent image. His hands trembled as he opened it. The photo loaded slowly. Grainy, dark, taken from behind a truck cab. His truck cab, parked at mile marker 47. Driver's door open. And standing beside it, Caleb, frozen mid-step, looking into the trees. He dropped the phone because he had never stepped outside, and in the photo, the trees behind him were filled with figures, tall, wrong, waiting, and every single one of them was facing the camera. As if they knew this moment would come, as if they were waiting for him to stop again. Scene 4, the ones who wait. Caleb didn't breathe. He couldn't. The phone lay on the restroom tile at his feet, the image still glowing on the screen like something alive. Him. Standing outside his truck, driver's door open, at mile marker 47, but he had never stepped outside. He would remember that, wouldn't he? His heart pounded so violently he felt it in his throat. Slowly, very slowly, he crouched and picked the phone back up. The image was still there, time-stamped. 3:19 a.m. That was impossible. At 3:19 he had been driving, fighting the wheel, escaping the sedan. He zoomed in on the photo. His face in the image looked wrong, eyes unfocused, mouth slightly open, like someone listening to something only he could hear, the trees behind him. He zoomed further, shapes between the trunks, not quite human, too tall, limbs too long, standing shoulder to shoulder in unnatural stillness. And all of them, every single one, had their heads turned toward the camera, toward whoever took the picture. Caleb's stomach twisted. Who took it? Ridley? No. Ridley couldn't have been there, and the message said unknown contact. His fingers shook as he checked the sender details. No number, no ID, just blank space. The restroom lights flickered again, longer this time. A hum filled the air. He looked up at the mirror instinctively. His reflection stood there, but for half a second it blinked after he did. A delayed blink. Caleb staggered back. No, he whispered. The bathroom door creaked open behind him. He spun around. A trucker stood there, mid-40s, ball cap low over his brow. You good man? The trucker asked. Caleb swallowed hard. Yeah. The trucker looked at him oddly, then walked to the urinal. Normal. Real. Caleb looked back at the mirror. Normal again. He shoved the phone into his pocket and walked out. The bright lights of the truck stop suddenly felt thin. It was like they could peel away at any moment. He needed to leave. Stay moving. That had worked before. He climbed back into his cab. The dents on the trailer caught the overhead lights, jagged and undeniable. Proof this wasn't all in his head. He started the engine. It roared to life instantly. The clock read 3:52 a.m. He put the truck into gear and pulled out of the lot. Highway 8 stretched ahead, clear, open. He merged smoothly. Traffic was light but present. A minivan ahead, Another rig in the right lane. Ordinary. His pulse steadied slightly. Maybe it was confined to Route 12. Maybe mile marker 47 couldn't follow him here. The radio turned on by itself. Soft static at first, then country music. A normal station. He let out a shaky breath. The song ended. Static returned. Then, the traffic alert voice. Flat, emotionless. Attention drivers. Road obstruction reported near mile marker 47. Caleb's hands tightened on the wheel. He checked the highway sign ahead. Highway 8, mile marker 112, not 47. He switched stations. Static. Another alert. Caution. A disabled vehicle blocking both lanes near mile marker 47. His chest tightened painfully. "This is Route 12, he muttered. The dashboard lights flickered once. The minivan ahead slowed slightly. Its brake lights glowed red. Caleb eased off the accelerator. The minivan drifted toward the shoulder, hazard lights blinking. It came to a stop. The driver's door opened. Caleb's pulse skyrocketed. No, he was not stopping. He moved into the left lane to pass. As he drew alongside the minivan, he glanced over. The driver stood beside it. A woman, mid-30s, blonde hair. Staring into the trees, completely still, she didn't look at him, didn't wave for help, just stared into the darkness. The trees here were thinner, no place for tall figures, but the way she stood, rigid, listening, his chest tightened. He accelerated past her. "Don't stop." The radio crackled again. "You missed it." That voice, low, close. Caleb slammed the radio off. Silence filled the cab, but the silence wasn't empty. It felt crowded. The highway ahead curved gently, and then traffic slowed abruptly. A line of brake lights stretched ahead. Red, dozens of vehicles, all slowing. His heart hammered. There was no accident report, no construction, no reason for this. The truck in front of him stopped completely. Caleb cursed under his breath. He tapped his brakes, came to a halt. The line of vehicles ahead sat perfectly still, engines idling, no one exiting their cars. No movement, just red lights glowing in the dark. He checked the mirrors. Vehicles behind him, boxed in. He couldn't maneuver around. He was trapped. His breathing became shallow. Don't get out. Don't unlock the doors. The car directly in front of him, a sedan, turned off its engine. Its brake lights went dark. The driver's door creaked open. Caleb felt the blood drain from his face. A man stepped out, late 20s, jeans and hoodie. He walked slowly toward the trees, not looking back. No urgency, no confusion, just calm, deliberate steps. Another car door opened, then another. One by one, drivers stepped out of their vehicles, all walking toward the tree line. Silent, unhurried, like sleepwalkers. Caleb's pulse pounded in his skull. "Stay in the truck," he whispered to himself. The line of vehicles stretched ahead into darkness, doors opening in sequence, people stepping out. Moving toward the woods, no one screamed, no one resisted, they just walked. The air inside the cab felt thick, heavy, like pressure building before a storm. His driver's side window fogged slightly, and in the fog, a shape pressed faintly against the outside. He froze. There was no way something could be outside. He would have seen it approach. The fog deepened, and a long, thin outline appeared, head tilted, just like before. A slow knock tapped against the glass. 3 taps. Caleb didn't turn his head fully. He kept his eyes forward. "I'm not stopping," he said through clenched teeth. "You already did." The voice wasn't in the cab, it wasn't outside, it was inside his head. The engine sputtered, the dashboard lights dimmed. "No," he whispered. The vehicles around him continued emptying. The man from the sedan ahead reached the trees. He stepped between 2 trunks and vanished, not obscured, not hidden. Gone, like stepping through a doorway. The woman from the minivan earlier, she appeared now on the shoulder, standing among the others, facing the highway. Her head turned slowly toward Caleb's truck. Her eyes looked wrong, too dark, too wide. She smiled faintly and raised one hand, beckoning. More figures emerged from the trees, tall, long-limbed, standing behind the humans, waiting, watching. Caleb's heart pounded so hard he felt dizzy. The engine died, total darkness. The red brake lights of the vehicles flickered out simultaneously. The entire highway plunged into black. No moon, no stars, just emptiness. Caleb fumbled for the ignition, turned the key. Nothing. The silence pressed against his ears painfully. And then running, not ahead, not behind, all around. Circling the truck at impossible speed. Heavy feet slamming against asphalt. Metal vibrated faintly. The cab shook. Hands, too many hands, slapped against the sides of the trailer, not trying to break in, just reminding him they were there, waiting. His breathing turned frantic. The passenger door handle began to twitch, slowly rotating back and forth. Locked, locked, locked. The windshield fogged from the outside this time, shapes forming. Dozens of silhouettes pressing close, faces too near the glass, eyes reflecting faintly in the dark. "You stopped," the voice whispered again. Caleb's vision blurred. "No," he gasped. "I didn't." "You're not moving." The words felt like a verdict. The driver's side door lock clicked, unlocked. Caleb lunged and slammed it back down. Locked. The click echoed too loudly in the dark. The door handle twitched again. Harder, the metal creaked. Then silence. Absolute. The running ceased. The hands withdrew. The pressure lifted slightly. Caleb's chest heaved. The darkness felt thinner now, almost gone. A faint hum returned to the cab. The dashboard flickered. The engine coughed once, twice, then roared back to life. Headlights blazed forward. The highway reappeared, empty. No traffic, no cars, no people. No trees close to the road, just open asphalt stretching ahead. The clock read 4:03 a.m., only 11 minutes since traffic had stopped. But there were no vehicles anywhere, not ahead, not behind. The dents on his trailer remained in the side mirror. Proof. He shifted into gear and accelerated. He didn't check the sides, didn't check the mirrors. He just drove. The radio crackled faintly again. He didn't turn it on, but the voice came through anyway, soft, satisfied. "Next time," it whispered, "you won't keep moving." Caleb's grip tightened on the wheel. He drove faster, because he understood something now. It wasn't confined to Route 12. It wasn't bound to mile marker 47. It followed hesitation. It followed stillness. And every time he was forced to stop, it grew closer, stronger, more real, and eventually, well, he wouldn't be fast enough.
There's nothing else you need to listen for now. Just let your breathing stay slow and easy. If you're still awake, that's okay. And if you're drifting off, let yourself go gently. I'll be right here next time. Rest well and good night.